What's happening, people? Park Lane Podcast here, back with another episode. Today, I'm joined by my co-host Wynnie because I'm hosting for today. So, Wynnie, firstly, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Luke didn't trust me to host. You're the favoured one. Whenever we need you, you always step up. That's what we like.
If I comment, I'm in trouble, but it's great to have you on, Wynnie. Reminder: if you channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. You know, we ran that giveaway at 700. Next target is 800. It'd be great if you get there before the season starts. Reminder if you're listening as well on all podcast platforms, especially Spotify, to give us a follow and a 5-star review. That'd be massively appreciated. And thank you all for being in the comments. There's a lot of you, so we try and get your comments if you are live on YouTube throughout the show. What's the point? FC says the deal is off for Van der Ven, so we will get onto that. Whether that will go ahead or not, interestingly. So firstly, Wynnie, I'm going to get straight into it. Ask you, how many centre backs do you think we need this summer?
It's a good question. I think it depends how many we get rid of. To be honest, if it's me, I'm being completely rash this season. We need a complete clear out and a complete new defence. To be honest, so I think at the minute, I think we need two in with the current defenders that we have. However, if we were to get rid of the likes of Sanchez, which we're looking at, Tanganga, another one, Roden, another one. If we get rid of those three, I think we need to replace them with three defenders. So currently, I think we desperately need two. However, without goings that could possibly happen, I could see us needing up to three. So who knows? But yeah, two at the minute, but potentially three. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I hate to kind of put a number because, like you said, depends who goes out the door. There's a possibility that Tanganga, Dyer, Sanchez, Roden, any one of them, or maybe all of them, will go out the window. So it does depend because, it really does depend. I think Sanchez will definitely go out the door, and Roden, I think, will go out the door. So we will probably need at least two centre backs, whether that will be Tapsoba and Van der Ven, or be cheap options in Lenglet or Tosin, who knows? We will dive deeper into that. He has Spurs TV for tuning in. He goes with three. What's the point? FC says it depends on how cheap the defenders are, and that's how Levy rolls. So there you go.
You can't argue with that, can we, really?
Wow, we can't. Wynnie, if I said to you, though, Tapsoba or Van der Ven, if you could only choose one, who would you rather out of the two?
So looking at what we need, which is a left-sided centre-back, I would veer towards the side of Van der Ven purely because he's left-footed. Obviously, Tapsoba's right-footed. I think if we're talking about current ability now, I think Tapsoba would be the favourable candidate purely because I think he's pretty much ready-made to go. But I think, I know very little of them, only going by what people say and from what I've watched little bits of. I would say that Van der Ven has the highest ceiling. So it depends what we want to go for. If we want to go for someone who is going to stick along with this project that Andy is apparently building, because he's got a 4-year deal, which is the longest deal we've given to anyone other than Pochettino. So if Andy's going to stick around for this project, then I would go for Van der Ven because, like I say, I think he's got a higher ceiling and he's someone that we can definitely develop. And yeah, he's left-footed, and I think he fits the bill. So for me, Tapsoba is very similar characteristic-wise to Romero. He looks very rash in his tackles. He looks like someone who can play out with the ball, like Romero. But I think Van der Ven would complement Romero a lot better than Tapsoba would. So if I was to go for someone today, my money would be going straight on Van der Ven.
Okay, thank you, Wynnie. I can't disagree. Guys, if you are listening, like I said, live on YouTube, do get involved in the comments. We do want to hear your opinion on this conversation. currently ongoing. It has been for a while. Yeah, the ongoing centre back issue. For me, Wynnie, I completely agree with you. For me, Van der Ven. Romero, we're looking for. Ideally, we want that reliable, someone who's calm, left-sided centre back. And I don't think that is the likes of Tapsoba, sadly. Although Tapsoba is probably the bigger name. But Van der Ven, I think you can save yourself money on Van der Ven, which is never bad. And I think Jerry will be a better partner for Romero. Younger as well. So I just think for me, it's got to be Van der Ven. So that leads me on to the next question, Wynnie. If we wanted to, could we afford? Because it's been an ongoing discussion last few days on Twitter. Can we afford both? We should be able to. We shouldn't be able to. Stadium debt, blah blah blah, etc. And that will lead us on eventually later to the increase in the matchday season ticket price, ticket prices for next season. So people are interested in our opinions on that, and obviously your opinions. Tune into the end. But Wynnie, can we afford both?
Look, I have no doubt that we can afford both. I think that's a given. If we look at where we sit revenue wise, and just in general, what are we saying? So I think Tapsoba, I think they're touting. I think it's about 40 to 50 million for Tapsoba, and then again about 30 to 40 for Van der Ven. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we managed to get them for a combined of 80 million. Can we afford that? Yeah, we can. Of course we can. But I think I don't want to jump down the route of going, let's just pick the cheaper options. Levy will pick the cheaper options anyway. Look, I think we've tried the ready-made people and the big name stars that we've tried to attract. We paid 60 million or whatever it was for Ndombele, who didn't work out. I mean, we've brought people along the road like Roden, who came out of the Championship and was one of these that could have been like an up-and-coming centre-back, and that didn't work. Look, we can definitely afford it, but whether we do, I don't know. And if I'm honest, as long as we get one of them, I'm not going to sit here and slate the club or slate Levy, because we need one of them, definitely. And as long as we get one, I'll be satisfied. But if I was to answer your question, H, yes, I think we can afford both. But whether we will, that's down to Daniel Levy. And to be honest, I don't blame him, because if we're looking at Tapsoba, let's say they want 50 million, as a top whack. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's a fair enough comment, to be fair. I mean, when I say ready-made, with Ndombele, he was touted about in terms of there was teams after him and people knew who he was and stuff like that. But look,
big prices as well on Ndombele and the Celso.
Yeah, exactly. But look, it's one of them. I think we definitely need one of them to complement Romero. But look, as long as we get one, I'll be satisfied, mate.
Yeah, again, I can't disagree with you, Wynnie. But I agree with you that we can probably afford both. Obviously, should we make money the other way, that's going out the door. But this time we've got to be realistic. It mustn't be, we must go and get both. I'll be happy with just one, because we're talking about top centre backs. When the clubs that like Liverpool, when they're in for Van der Ven and clubs like City, Arsenal, Chelsea are in for Tapsoba, they're going to be big players. It's going to be hard to get. Of course, that price tag will be high. We can get both. I can't see us getting both, to be honest with you. But like I said, one would be fantastic. But if we make money from, let's say, I don't know how much will be combined, but let's say we sell Rodon, Sanchez, and Dyer, we will still make quite a bit for that, which will be able to fund that if we can't for whatever reason. So I definitely think it should be. I'm going to chip a little question in there, because it hasn't mentioned about Ndombele. Do you think he can get his career back up and running under Postecoglou next season? So do you see him fitting in the system, and does he deserve another chance?
Look, when we were signing Ndombele, I was one of the biggest advocates for it, because that guy has got so much raw talent. It's unbelievable. He looks like someone who, I mean, I think you could have three men around him and he'd still manage to wiggle his way out with the ball. And that's massive for the Premier League, because you don't get as much time on the ball. So someone with his traits is perfect. But I think we just, we've all seen it. He's been booed off the pitch because of his work rate. He just doesn't have the grit and determination for the Premier League. If and that the thing that annoys me is that isn't talent based. That's purely down to his own motivation. Like, you can work on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, talent,
Yeah.
you can be born with it. You can still work on your talent, but if you've got raw talent like he does, that's special. And it's so annoying that he doesn't use the determination and the grit to go with it to make himself an unbelievable player. Now, what that reason is, I don't know. But look, as much as I want to sit here and say Ndombele is going to be the saviour of our season, I think this is the first system that suits him perfectly of all the systems that he's been under
Yeah.
Tottenham. I think this is the one that suits him. Very, very like midfield based in terms of the two eights and the one holding midfielder. So look, I think this is the system that suits him perfectly. Is he going to resurrect his Tottenham career? I really don't know. I hope so, because watching him is an absolute joy when he wants to put the effort in, because he is an unbelievable player. But it will be interesting to see what you think about that, because we haven't really discussed Ndombele on this
No, we
podcast that
have
much.
them.
I don't know what your thoughts are on Ndombele, to be fair.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for your thoughts, Winnie, and get involved in the comments, people. If you're watching live or listening live, should I say, I want to hear your opinion on this, because there's so many different opinions on Ndombele. I get accused a lot, especially by Luke, of flip-flopping backs and forwards, lots of different things. The one I can admit to flipping on in the last few years is Ndombele. Firstly, I was there. I didn't boo him. I don't believe in booing a player for confidence on your own team. For me, that doesn't make sense. This is not something I would do, despite thoughts on the player. One thing that hasn't changed is I've never doubted his ability, his potential, his quality, because he's up there with the very best for me. But I've been saying for a long while I wouldn't have him back because of his attitude, and he's not someone I want at the club with that potential bad attitude and influence on the players. You're looking at players in youth academy, you look up to him, think, look, that's how you act once you've made it as a footballer. But as times come and I look at the potential he's got, the quality he's got, and at the end of the day, leave it to Ange. If he fits in Ange's system, fine. I don't have a problem with that. So I do hope it works out for Ndombele, but if it doesn't, it's all on him. And I'm afraid a bit like Delhi, players that have got potential, they've got the talent. If they want to put the work rate in, all they've got to do. So for me, there isn't much sympathy there, and I completely agree as in terms of what lets him down is his attitude. However, what I would say is promising is I know it's only clips, but you've seen on Spurs Twitter where Ndombele has been putting in the work. That is good to see. More of that. I'd be very, very happy. As Spurs TV says once again, unfortunately, the only reason Ndombele is still here is because Levy wants. There you go. So this kind of leads us on to what has been a big discussion in the last couple of days and caused lots of anger, fury. Some of it justified. And that is the match day ticket price increase for next season. So firstly, Winnie, what do you make of it? Do you support it, and should it be reversed?
Of course, I don't support it. No, I think in this day and age, this is the hardest times that we've had in a long time for everything money related, financially. Everyone's very, very tight. I think I think he's just making a rod for his own back, to be honest, because I have no doubt that there's going to be a significant drop in numbers, because people genuinely can't afford, like, people. I know myself, obviously, I haven't got a season ticket. I've got a membership. So I live in Staffordshire. So I live a good 3 hours drive from Tottenham, but I get down to as many games as I can. My dad lives in Stafford as well, and he's got a season ticket. So he goes down every home game. So there are still dedicated people out there, but I think, with the prices that, especially, category A, I think that's the problem. Is we've looked at category A and we've looked at it and gone, wow, like that is crazy. Look, I think, of course, I don't support it. I think What I did find interesting is I've never really looked at other teams' ticket prices. To be honest, I only ever see what Spurs tickets prices are because they're the only ones I've ever bought. But interestingly, I looked at Arsenal's, and Arsenal's are actually more expensive than ours. So I think it's something that it's not a decision that I support. However, we are still, and it's not exactly a good comparison, but we are still cheaper than Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? It swings and roundabouts. I don't support it, but I kind of get why they would try to bump the prices up to try and get closer to some of the other teams around us. But no, I don't support it. And if anything, it's just going to drive me away from going to as many games as I would like to. So it's just a negative for me.
Yeah, it's really sad. Again, I couldn't agree more with you here, Rooney. Before I give my opinion on it, thank you, Johnny, for tuning in once again. Luke is currently at a festival, and I've stepped in to host this show, not for the first time, actually. So, and I believe I'll be hosting one more potentially before the end of the month as well. So there you go. Tell Luke that you prefer me. I'm sure he'll like that. But with the match day increase in the ticket prices, no, I'm with you. I don't support it. The only thing I do disagree with you on, I can't even, to be fair to you, well, I can understand it slightly in terms of we finished outside of European football and the money has to come from somewhere. But I don't understand. You know, I get it. If we had an excellent last 3 or 4 years, we finished in the Champions League. Like if you look at Arsenal's prices, again, they're probably a lot higher than what it should be. But the difference is that they've just challenged the title in Champions League football, and that they're going somewhere at the moment as a club. So I can understand it a little bit more. And it's sad because not only Tottenham, but in football in generally, I don't like to get political, but I think working class people are being forced out of the beautiful game. And that is the sad thing. You've got lots of people on Twitter saying they will support their local club. That's where they'll be spending their weekends. They look at the Spurs result, they watch the highlights. It's sad, really. You think of local people in Tottenham, it'd be absolute dream come true in their lifetime to go and watch Tottenham play, but it's just, every year it's becoming more impossible, and everything's just going up. It's ridiculous, from player prices to wages to merchandise to ticket prices. So, and Spurs aren't just guilty of this. But I think the last few years we've had, considering that they didn't raise the season ticket prices because of a major cost of living crisis, I was slightly surprised. You expect some kind of increase. Being in, the club is going to suffer, of course, a little bit from that cost of living crisis themselves. Yeah. But when you're seeing like things go up 15-20%, the average ticket going up by £13-14, it is a big jump, and I can understand frustrations about that. Get involved in the comments, guys, and let me know what you think about the season ticket price. Johnny says, let's bring up his comments. Season ticket for Tottenham. Manuel is not ever seen face me smiling. Fair enough. I'm with Wynnie. I'm also
let me just jump in.
A member of the
Let me just jump in, H. The thing that I think the thing that's disappointed people the most is Levy was not that he was getting praise. Obviously, they it was leaked that they were going to increase the season ticket prices, and I think that the club got wind that there was a massive outrage on social media, and they decided to freeze the season ticket prices. So I think that was the first time where the fans have probably looked at it and gone, okay, look, fair enough, fair dues. You've seen that there's been a bit of an outcry online, and you've reverted your decision. So fair play. You've made a good decision there to not increase the season ticket prices. And then he went and upped the membership prices by like 10, I think it was about £10 to £15. Because I mean, obviously I get a membership every year, and all of a sudden I had my renewal come through, and I was like, 60 quid. I was like, excuse me, what's happened there? So it's just annoying that he's. Yeah. I think there's a bit of not almost like betrayal, but it's almost as if he's gone, look, okay, season ticket holders will keep you as you are, but memberships, like, we're going to put those up. Secretly, we're going to put up ticket prices. All he if he really wanted to make a little bit more money, all he would have to do is, let's say, increase the price of a pint in the stadium by 50p. The amount that he would make extra from that would be a lot, and that won't
bother people. Yeah, that's definitely, I think, a better way of doing it. Absolutely, Woody. But it sounds silly also, but the way that they've done it, it bothers me. Like, it's almost like sneaking, read more about the season ticket price. Then you have to go into it then you have to. It took me about 5 minutes to get to the prices. It's kind of almost like covered up. It's clever. You get it, but it's just the way they've done it. Like just little bits how they announce it. Like that communication with the fans for me, something I've said needs to improve. But sorry to interrupt. We do have some exciting breaking news just come through regarding Spurs from Fabrizio Romano, and that is Monday will be Manor Solomon's day at Tottenham as he's arriving in London later tonight and will stay overnight. Medical test scheduled on Monday and contract will be signed in the next 48 hours. Solomon joins Spurs as free agent from Shakhtar as reported last week. Here we go, confirmed, will be announced in the next couple of days. So, Wynnie, what do you make of that?
Again, it's someone that fits the mold of what we were looking for. So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my God, he's brilliant. I know him. You know, I watched him for Fulham when he came off the bench. I know of him that I don't really know that much of him. But what I do know is he fits the bill of what we were looking for in a younger winger to stay on the books and hopefully develop into someone that can be the predecessor of Heung-min Son. So I think, you know what, look, it's a free transfer. It's an absolute no-brainer. If we can convince someone to come and sign for us and it isn't gonna impact us financially too much, then why not? He's someone who has played in the Premier League. Has played, I believe he's played in I don't know how true it is, but I believe he's played in the Champions League as well. So he's got Champions League experience. So look, it's someone who fits the bill, like I say. But I'll be interested to. I know, obviously, I've seen on your socials, you've been doing some work and some videos behind him. So it'd be interesting to see what you can tell me about him. To be honest.
Yeah, I spent the last couple of days a bit of research. I spent the last couple of days working on the Solomon video. I'd probably say that that's for my channel. That's probably the best video I've done so far in terms of time put aside to it, the editing behind it, and just generally the research done behind it. So with Solomon, what I can tell you is obviously he was on loan, like many of you will know, at Fulham last season. Didn't make many appearances, but when he did, he really, really impressed. There's clips going around. Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. I think Burnley in the FA Cup where he cuts on the side of his foot and scores. We currently we play Shakhtar Donetsk in the pre-season game. Obviously, he's come from them. And there's a possibility that he could take Spurs to court over it. FIFA rules say that we can have him for free. But Shakhtar Donetsk say that they've invested significant money in Solomon, and they cannot afford, to lose that money on him. So I don't know if they will meet again. They didn't want the deal to go through before that preseason friendly. I've actually got tickets for that, so that'll be interesting. But it might be, I don't know if they're trying to cancel it. I don't know. So that could be a potential problem. He's an Israeli winger. He's still very fairly young, and I think for free, I think you can't go wrong with him. He's a player that is impressed at Shakhtar. He was purely sent out to Fulham for first team full. But Shakhtar, I believe, made a mistake in realising that contract up and he leaves in the free because Shakhtar have had lots of things going on and off the pitch. So although it's a mistake you wouldn't probably see in the Premier League, that has happened. But people all say that I'm afraid there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, Tottenham could obviously be kind and go, here's 15, 20 million to Shakhtar, but they don't have to do that. And we're already doing that thing to raise money for Ukraine, which is also to help Shakhtar as well. So generally with Solomon, I think it's really, really good. Just because a player's free doesn't mean that he's bad, is what I will continue to make very, very clear. I'm with you and with Luke on this as well, both of you, in terms of it's clever business when you sign someone on a free. Even if they don't work out, you can say, well, we tried, it was on a free. It's almost like a risk-free. It's not a lack of ambition because it's not taking up a whole transfer window. Because I believe that the goalkeeper and the centre-back was the priority of the window, and anything extra we kind of got in was great. Solomon will be an extra player, otherwise he wouldn't have had. I don't think he'll be in the first team. I think he'll be a squad player. He'll be used, I think, in the cup competitions off the bench, and I think he'll make a good impact, actually. Yeah. So,
look, for me, let me just say, I think, like what you said there, it is obviously he's going to be a squad player. For me, I'm happy with that because I've looked at, when we're 0-0 in the 75th minute, and we've looked. I mean, I know we've said a lot about Conte.
AC Milan at home last season.
We've said a lot about Conte on this channel, and you know how not we didn't despise him, but we probably didn't agree with a lot of things that he'd done. But what I will say is, like you said there, he's looked towards the bench and he's gone, oh, okay, right, that's that's what I've got to work with. So, okay, right, yeah, come on then, you can come up, Sessegnon, you can come off the bench, try and do something on the wing, or do you know what I mean? Like, so for having players like that, and like Solomon to come off the bench, it can only be good. And like you said, I don't think just because they're free, it doesn't mean they're rubbish. There's a lot of free agents around at the moment that definitely aren't rubbish. And we've picked one up that is decent. So I think it's risk free because if we have him this season and he makes a couple of appearances, let's say he scores a goal or two or makes a couple of assists, next season, are you telling me we can't sell him for 5 to 10 million? Someone will take him off our hands, of course they will. So it's almost like a bit of an investment in the sense that you have him now.
And that
if he
works,
works,
you reinvest it. Yeah.
Of course. So look, I'm not going to say he's gonna absolutely set the world alight, but you know, like I say, if we're up and we need someone to come off the bench to make a difference, I'm happy that we've got someone like him to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree more with you, Wynnie. You can't really do what that's about. You can't really go wrong with a free transfer. And it's not a lack of ambition. I think people just finding something to moan about personally. And using that Milan game, Champions League prime example, Conte looked at the bench and his best option was to put Sessegnon like sitting on the wing. He looked at the bench and was like, oh, you know, what do I do? So that squad depth is very important, especially if we're going to take cups seriously next season. It's very, very important. Wynnie, we've got a comment from, not really, but got a comment from Donna Collins. So ticket prices have gone up for a reason. We're not in European football. On top of that, nobody wants to buy our players. Furthermore, we have heavy compensations. That's it. Old Conte, Nuno, and Jose. That's actually worded like someone from the club. So love that.
Not only is Levy hacking your Wi-Fi, Donna's keeping a little bit of moderation on our account as well. That's not good, is it?
Profile
we need to be careful what we're saying
now. As well, and just even throwing Levy under the bus there.
Oh, whoever's doing
I love that. Right,
because that is hilarious.
Yeah. Big up. Keep involved in the comments. We love that. So, Wynnie, moving on to Harry Kane, which is never a nice topic to talk about. And I don't know about you, but it's been going around a while now, hasn't it? And it's it gets boring. When does it get boring? Well, you know, Harry Kane keeps getting asked himself. The rumours go around, and obviously a lot of it's the clicks for retention.
Definitely.
But it does worry you when you hear from the likes of Fabrizio Romano that Bayern are currently putting bids in. They're very keen for him, etc. So my question for you, Wynnie, firstly, before I reveal what Fabrizio said today, I missed it. Will Harry Kane be a top player on the 1st of September when the window slams shut and the season would have already been underway?
So my answer to that question, H, is yes. And just purely, quickly, the reason is that rightfully so, Daniel Levy does not want to lose his prized asset for a cut price. And that's the same in any business. It's not just Daniel Levy playing hardball. If you are a business and you have a prized asset, you will not sell it for less than what it is worth. And I know we we sit here and we go, oh, you know, like the whole David Raya business. You know, oh, he's got 11 months left on his contract. Why are they holding out for 40 million, etc.? This is where I'm going to kind of contradict myself because I didn't believe that David Raya was worth that money. But here I am going, well, we shouldn't sell Harry Kane unless we receive a bit of 100 million. So I am a little bit contradictory in that sense. However, I think it's completely different because David Raya and Harry Kane are worth completely different in terms of what they give to their current clubs. If we lose Harry Kane, we've all seen the statistics. If we take away Harry Kane's goals or goals and assist involvements, we finished. I think it was like 16th or 17th. So he's
we would have stayed
yeah,
up by a point.
exactly. So look, this is it's the same. I've said it before. When we've been linked with Wilfred Zaha, for example, I'm just going to chuck him out there just because he's the first person that come to my head.
Currently a free agent.
Yeah, exactly. But when he wasn't a free agent, I know we were linked with him before, and I think a couple of other clubs were, and Crystal Palace were touting about 80 million. Now everyone's gone 80 million for Wilfred Zaha. I don't think so. He's not worth that money. But to Crystal Palace, he is. And that's the same with us and Tottenham Hotspur. We've got one of, if not the best striker currently in Europe. So, I mean, if we want to play hardball and not give him away for peanuts, then fair play. So, look, I think he will be a Tottenham player when the window shuts, and I think that's purely because nobody will pay £100 million for him, given his age and his previous injury record. Even though that seems to be, fingers crossed, seems to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Wynnie. Before I give my opinion on this, why everyone's attention, because it's currently quite a few people indeed listening. If you are watching live on YouTube, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Let's get to 800 subs before the season starts. That would be a great achievement for the channel. A great year for the channel, definitely. Like the stream, leave a like and get involved in the comments. We'll read out your opinion. If you're listening after on Spotify, on any other or any other listening platform, don't forget to give us a follow and 5-star review. Helps the podcast grow and be massively appreciated. But going back to Harry Kane, Unicorn says, if I was Kane, I'd run for the exit door. I just look at how Levy's treating our defensive issues. He doesn't care. You're right, mate. Okay, fair enough. Interesting. With Harry Kane, Wynnie, before I give my opinion, you talked about that 100 million price tag. If I said to you now and quoted you on this, if Bayern came in, not 100 million euros, just 100 million for Kane, let's say no add-ons, would you accept and rebuild the team or decline?
I would decline, and that's it. It's as simple as that. I think Harry Kane is indispensable for this football club. I think he's priceless. I say priceless. In my eyes, he's priceless. To Daniel Levy, he probably isn't priceless because he's worth 100 million. So if someone comes in 100 million, I think Daniel Levy would entertain it. I really do. But if you're asking me, no, I would not sell him because 100 million, we're saying rebuild the team. It's a different era to what it used to be. Like when Liverpool sold Coutinho for 120 million or whatever it was, they was able to bring in a Van Dijk and an Alisson. So if we look at it now, if we was to sell him for 100 million, let's say we get Tapsoba and we get Van de Ven, that's probably, we're not going to have much change from 100 million if we get those two players in. So yeah, we address our centre-back issue, but what do we do about losing the massive hole in Harry Kane?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, fair enough, Wynnie. My opinion is I would say unpopular on this. Obviously, Bayern's valuation for me is way off, and I think that all of a sudden they're making a mockery of themselves, but it doesn't look good. The bids they're putting in, because Bayern are a big club and I'm sure can afford it. But if you said to me 100 million for Kane, I would cash in. And focus on rebuilding that. I would rebuilding that defense. And another unpopular opinion is it's unpopular on the podcast and unpopular with Spurs fans. But I don't think we need a Kane replacement. I think we can save ourselves by not getting a Kane replacement. I think Richarlison, for that price tag he came from, I think he's more than capable with the minutes in the right system of stepping up and being that permanent Kane replacement. And a front line of Son, Richarlison and Kulusevski doesn't sound too bad. For me, the only reason I would say cash in for 100 million is because of the risk of losing him for free next year. Yes, we get to use Kane another year. But we don't win anything, and we've lost a significant amount of money on him, and we could be in a difficult position financially and may not be able to afford his replacement. Some people saying that I'm already worrying about the money, but if you think about it, you just never know what's around the corner. We saw with the pandemic how unexpected that was, and how that hit, especially us with the new stadium. So for me, you get if I don't think Bayern will pay 100 million. I think it'd be something like maybe 90 million with add-ons or 95 million euros with add-ons. I don't think they get to that 100 million mark. At the same time, you don't accept that, because if Rice is going for 105 million, you've got Havertz going for 60, Mount going for similar. Then for me, Kane is Mbappe 200, 250 million. I mean, if Levy was going to play proper hardball, he'd hold that for 300 million, which for me, for Kane, it isn't ridiculous. The price the players are going for. So there you go. A bit up, Luke or Dave, whoever that is in the chat. Assume it's Luke. See you next week. Yes, see you next week. You take my position back. What I will say is the numbers are good, so it's clearly working. But what Fabrizio Romano said, Fabrizio Romano said this afternoon about the strong links with Harry Kane. He said Bayern have submitted their second official bid for Harry Kane, proposal worth 80 million euros plus add-ons. So I've been told that's just over 17 million, which is a long way off, isn't it? Tottenham already rejected 70 million euros plus add-ons last week. I mean, this is a low bid, isn't it? Tottenham, already. An initial feeling after second bid is similar from Spurs, waiting for official answer at the moment. So Wynnie, you said that you think Kane will still be a Tottenham player. Does the Bayern links and how quickly they're advancing in terms of the bids worry you, or do you just think Bayern won't be able to simply afford him in the end and he won't go?
It doesn't worry me, to be honest. And I'll tell you one reason why, and that reason is Daniel Levy. They're going about this completely the wrong way. If they want to do business with Daniel Levy, what they need to do is they need to find out straight away what he wants and get near that straight away. Now, you don't need to be an expert to know how much we want for Harry Kane. What we want is 100 million. And that was the same when we were touted to sell him to Man City. We said, if you give us I think even it, to be honest, I think the Man City time, I think it was about 120 million, if I'm honest. But we said we want 120 million, and Man City came in at about 75, which is ridiculous. So I don't blame him for that. Look, it's a difficult one. I'm not concerned, because all they're going to do, the way they're acting at the minute, is they're just going to piss Levy off. Coming in at 70 million euros, I have no doubt we rejected that and said, look, it's probably going to take a bid near 100 for us to even start negotiations. And they've come straight back in with 80 million euros. So all they're going to do is they're going to piss Levy off. And I think they've probably got one more bid left in them before Levy just completely shuts down negotiations and says we're not interested. So for me, if they want to come back in again with 85 million, I'm happy for them to do that, because I think that ends all negotiations. And currently, I think Bayern are the only club that are showing serious interest in Kane. So if they end their interest, I think that all but confirms what I want, and that is Harry Kane staying at the football club.
Yeah, absolutely. And although I talk about cashing in, obviously the ideal world, we all want Harry Kane to stay, because we know that our best chance of success or any kind of achievement next season is with Harry Kane, and the team's stats show that, and we just know that as fans. I'm going to be bold here, and I don't like to say it, but I can't see Kane being his first player come 1st of September.
Really?
I can't see Levy. Yeah, I know that for Levy, obviously it's massive, but I can't see Levy taking the risk of him leaving on a free. I know it's rumored that he's confident, but I can't see him taking the risk of him leaving on a free because of the backlash that will get. I think although there may be a backlash of selling Kane, for me it's safer than the possibility of him letting him go for nothing. And the reason I think that he will go is I don't know where, because Bayern Munich, they're showing the strongest interest in Kane, and that's if he's going to go. Looks like that. Real Madrid, they need a number 9, that replacement for Benzema. Man United, Weghorst, that loan's ended. They're not going to renew that. It was clear to see by Christmas that they weren't going to sign him permanently. And you got Kane's a potential option for them. Well, they could go someone younger and Ottoman. So who knows? But there's teams out there that need a number 9. Did Liverpool go for a replacement for Firmino, or to trust Nunes? So there's teams out there who need a number 9, and big clubs like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, but also Man United, who will pay the money for him. Absolutely. PSG is another one. If Mbappe leaves, he's rumoured to go potentially to Arsenal. It's a scary thought, and if he does go to someone like Arsenal, and Messi or Mbappe, or maybe both leave, PSG will need someone of a high profile, ideally, because of what that brings attraction to the club. So it does worry me, but I hate to say it, I can't see us being in the same situation where I can't see him being a Spurs player come 1st of September. I think that he goes for about 95 million with add-ons, the end add-ons that potentially go up to 100 million. I think it's one that will go, into the season. I think it'll be right towards the end where Bayern or someone like that, or Man United, are really desperate for number 9 and go 95 million with add-ons or potentially 100. And Levy goes, thank you very much. But in Levy's eyes, he's got, in the end, of what could potentially be 100 million. So there you go.
What I will say, H, is I kind of disagree with you in the sense that I don't think this is one that's going to drag on into the season like it did with Man City when they were after him. No. I think we've learned our lesson. That season, the start of that season was disrupted so much because of that situation. I didn't think he ever would, but it was quite clear that he almost went on strike. He came back from his holiday late. It depends which reports you believe, because some reports say that he was given an extra bit of time off on his holiday because of what was going on, and others are reporting that he should have reported back to training on the Monday, and he didn't come back until the following week. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he attempted a strike. So I didn't think that was he was about that. I just don't think this is going to happen the same as it did then. I think I think he's going to have a conversation with Ange, and if I'm honest, I don't think Ange is the type of person that's going to be fucked about either. I think he's going to have a clear and honest conversation with H, and he's going to go, look, if you want to stay, I want you part of my squad. If you don't, we need this resolved quickly, because we're shooting off to Australia soon on our tour, and I want you there. But if you don't want to be there, then you need to be gone before that. So I think it's going to be one of them situations where it happens. It's probably by the end of, let's say, I don't know, by the end of the week, I think we might have a clear indication as to what potentially could be happening with him, whether that be, advanced negotiations with Bayern, or Bayern pulling out of the deal and he's looking to stay. If I'm honest, again, it's not my money. If we potentially lose out on 100 million, but we get Harry Kane for another season, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to take that. Because, like I say, what he has already done for us this season, reaching the numbers that he reached, it was only due to Haaland, the robot, that he didn't get the top goal scorer, and he wasn't, that kind of took the shine off his season. He's had a phenomenal season in a team that finished very, very below where they should do. So what we've done this season is we have added James Maddison to the mix, someone who in a team that got relegated reached numbers that were ridiculous in goal involvements, in goals and assists. I believe it. I don't want to quote myself, but I think it was around about the 15 mark in terms of goals and assists. In a team that got relegated. So if we're adding that to our squad, if we can keep Harry Kane in that, it can only be good. So I don't think, what I will say is, the reason why it would annoy me if he went to Bayern is, I think they've won the Bundesliga for the last 13 years in a row. If that's what he wants, if he wants to go to Bayern and win a trophy that, in my opinion now, because they've won it 13 years in a row, it's almost got about as much weight as the Carabao Cup, because, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's nothing, it's not prestigious anymore. They do it every single year. It's a given. And if he wants to,
they don't really, although they're obviously always in the Champions League, they don't really get, usually, they don't really, I'm not going to say they don't progress, but when he gets to the quarterfinal, it's usually they get knocked out in the knockouts quarterfinal, maybe the semis, maybe to win the Champions League. But I completely agree with you in terms of the Bundesliga. Whereas for me, if I'm Kane, to be honest with you, again, there's something I definitely have changed my mind on, but I would, thinking about it, stay at Tottenham. Obviously, biased with my love for Tottenham, and just the thought of taking a club that is nowhere near the Champions League success or league, winning the titles, and getting them there. Whereas, and also breaking Shearer's record is completely the other thing as well. Why would you leave that behind? 47 behind. He knows that when break Shearer's record is being broken. People say Haaland, but is Haaland really going to do it? He hasn't been that many years in the Premier League. I think Haaland will be bored after 2 or 3 years because he just found it too easy. But going back to what you said about James Maddison, I actually luckily got some stats here. So James Maddison's numbers in the league for Leicester since the 2018-19 season, age 26 obviously now, 163 games in the league for Leicester with 42 goals, 32 assists, with picking up 26 yellow cards on red card along the way. So answering that for you, Wynnie. And also in the chat, we got a question for you popping up from Jay when it comes up. If it's going to come up. There you go. Would you want both Tapsoba or Mickey van der Ven or one of them?
I mean, yeah, of course, I want both. Give me both. Like, if that's like you saying to me, do you want a Mars bar or a Snickers, or do you want both of them, or do you want one of them? Like, give me both. Give me everything I can get. Look, I want both, but I think the one that complements our team and our new style and our current squad is Van der Ven. But to answer that question, yeah, I want both. But I don't think we will get both. So my preference is Van der Ven.
Absolutely, Winnie. But I can't relate with the Mars and Snickers. For someone who has a nut allergy, I'm afraid I have to play it safe and go with the Mars. We don't want to any duty. Let's say that's a good analogy for most people. Phil says, "What's a trophy or nothing?" Well, there is that. But would you rather, be a permanent Tottenham Hotspur legend, go down in the history of the Premier League, breaking Shearer's record, or win the Bundesliga with Bayern, which in the end, hundreds of thousands of players will do the same? Phil continues to go on to say, what's better, a trophy or nothing? Kane leaves now. Spurs could quite buy him back in a few years like we did with Sheringham. And be a better player and a winning mentality. I don't think that we will be buying him back at all. Johnny's asked me to stick up a comment. FA Cup, you win it. You're second best team in the country, playing the Community Shield. It seems down. Oh, it's about Arsenal. No, it's going. Don't talk about Arsenal on the show very rarely. Sorry.
No, we try not to.
I was hoping it was a good comment there. But no, we appreciate you tuning in, Johnny. Obviously, your opinions, rival fans' opinions, is always wanted. Wynnie, focusing more before we wrap up for today's show, has gone very, very quickly. Focusing on our transfer window so far, what do you think of it? If you could, I'm going to 2 separate ratings here. Firstly, based on the amount of time the window's been open, that short period, what do you rate it out of 10? So 10, we've done absolutely everything we can in that short space of time. 0, extremely disappointed, we've done nothing.
So for the short time that it's been open and the business we've done so far, I'd probably give it I'm going to say a 6.5, maybe a 7. And that may seem high to some, but we've done business. The business that we've brought in new players. I think we've also tied up permanent deals for Kulusevski and Pedro Porro, who are key, in my opinion, key players to our new system and to the future of Tottenham Hotspur. And then obviously we've included Vicario in that, who is, I'm not going to sit here and say I know that he's amazing and he's going to be the best goalkeeper of the Premier League. But again, statistically he fits what we are looking for and what Ange is looking for. So look, we've addressed some areas. If we had have brought in a centre back, let's say we have this podcast tomorrow, and tonight we get the here we go that we have done a deal with Wolfsburg for Van der Ven. We have this conversation tomorrow. I'm probably bumping it up to an 8.5 because we need to address a centre back. That's our next biggest problem. So I think, for now I'm going to give it a 6.5. Next big massive bit of business is bring in a centre back and offload some deadwood.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So you said 6.5, right? Okay, out of 10. For me, that's actually too low. Wait till you hear mine. Jax Jones has gone for 6 out of 10. I'm actually going to be very, very generous here, and I'm sure it's going to be clipped when, like I did with last season, get overexcited about the window. I'm going with 9 out of 10. Yeah, you
Wow.
heard me. That's a 9 out of 10. And I'm going to be very specific here. What would make it 10 out of 10 is if we sign David Raya. For me, I'm a big fan of David Raya. I know lots of people disagree with me, yourself, Wynnie, with David Raya, with that 40 million. For me, he's worth it. I can understand. Generally, I think obviously the market, this current market is too much. Rice 105 million, but I just think for the prices that we're seeing at the moment, I think it's justified that Brentford selling Raya for 40 million and wanting to keep hold of him before they bought that replacement in, obviously. So it's a 9 out of 10. And why maybe? I'm going to laugh at that in the chat here. I'm bringing them up in a minute. So I'm Porro Kulusevski permanently. I'm in for this. 2 crucial players. Porro could be really, really important. Big value as well. Kulusevski, and not just the fact that we signed Kulusevski, but that we got that extra money off the deal. I think something like 25 million in the end. That is just incredible business, and fair play to Daniel Levy for that. And so we signed them 2 permanently. It feels like new signings, not being funny. It feels good. We've got that goalkeeper in Vicario, whatever you think. When we brought that goalkeeper in, young, and saved ourselves some money, and probably the highlight of the window, not only signing a big player, which shows for me lots of ambition in James Maddison, but we've got him for 40 million, which is for me not only the signing of the window, but I continue to say an absolute bargain. If it was some kind of data bargain of the window, it's seeing the price is going, the price that Havertz going for, the price that Mount's going for, and that just makes the Maddison deal an absolute bargain, which for me exactly what it is. And also with Solomon, free transfer, clever business, will improve the squad, and all I'm really Arsenal now that at the end of the window is to focus on the defence. So I'm really, really happy. I think that we've got everything we could do so far. Lots of people do disagree with me in the chat. Let's bring some of them up. As you can see,
I've been watching them roll in as you've been talking. It's been quite entertaining, to be honest.
So lots of people, fair to say, do disagree.
So what you're saying, H, you've given it a 9. Yeah, you've given it a 9 out of 10 now.
I have,
and you would have given it a 10 had we signed David Raya instead of Vicario.
Yes.
So I think that's very bold, and purely because our biggest concern, our biggest issue at the moment, and it has been for many years at Tottenham Hotspur, post Alderweireld and Vertonghen, is our centre backs. Now, at the moment, we haven't addressed any part of it, whether that be buying or selling. Yes, we're in the market for Van de Ven, and we're in the market for Tapsoba, but there's nothing substantial yet in terms of a bid, or we haven't had any reliable journo saying like it's very, very, very close. So for me, we need to address that. That was our biggest concern. But look, I don't think 9 is beyond a stretch. I was probably being a little bit critical, giving 5 to 7. If I was being brutally honest, I would probably maybe have given it a 7.5 at most. But I was just being a little bit critical in the sense that we hadn't addressed our centre back issues. But I think 10 out. If you was to give it a 10 right now, I'd be like, okay, H, right, just go and have a sit down, mate.
But I will explain to you, because move on to something later here in a second before we wrap up. Like I said, where we're going to do, like if the window closed now, what we rate out of 10. I'm basing the 9 out of 10 what we've achieved in such a short period of time. I think we're the only club who's really got on with. Yes, Arsenal have, but I think that the players that they bought in Havertz and now Rice, they, in terms of value for money, it's not there. So we saved ourselves some real money. I'm being reminded that Vicario has conceded 48 goals. Vicario is not my ideal option, but he is a goalkeeper, and he's been praised. So we'll have to see. Obviously, a completely different club. Jack Jones says Arsenal. Let's bring it up. Spend 200 million on players. 17 out of 10. No, I would give. What would I give Arsenal? I'd give them less than us. I'd probably give us an 8 out of 10, because I don't really rate Havertz in terms of with Maddison. No. And they bought right in terms of the money spent. See, but obviously the players they've signed, it makes it a 10 out of 10 window, but just because of their money they spent, I just don't think that it's that impressive. Donna Cullen is back with a couple of comments. Here's the first one. If anyone has any questions regarding window and future plans for Tottenham, ask them away. I guess I'll tell you a few things here. So there you go. And there's also another comment from Donna Collins saying, I'm back. Sorry, Mr. Levy called me up to shoot a media arrangement for Manor Solomon deal. This is becoming
so.
more and more
Okay, then, Donna. We would like a bit of an inside scoop on any behind the scenes transfers that we're currently making. So get that in the comments. We'd like to hear what we're cooking up behind the scenes.
Yes, we definitely love to hear that. Wynnie, last but not least, slightly different. Way of it. If the two things, first, if the window slams shut tonight, and we bought, obviously, I'm going to include Solomon in this. What would you rate it out of 10? Obviously, we haven't addressed that centre back issue. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna that if I'm honest, that would completely lower what I'd given already. I would probably give it I'd give it a 5. I'd give it a 5 out of 10 if it was to shut tonight and we hadn't addressed the centre back issue. In fact, I'm gonna be brutally honest now. I'm giving it maybe a 3 or a 4 because our biggest issue is centre back. We need to ship a few out. Sanchez, in my opinion, needs to go. I think Roden is probably the closest that would fit an Ange system, but he's, in my opinion, not good enough. So Roden needs to go. Tanganga, again, he just seems to be hanging around. Oh God, please don't really be Donna, and that's the truth. Please, that's not what we need. Yeah, we need to address our technique. So if it was to shut tonight, I'm giving it a 3 and no more. What about yourself?
Wow. Yeah, I agree to an extent, but it's a bit harsh. I was actually going to say I agree with you when you said 5. And see, I've always said to myself that if we signed James Maddison, for me, as someone who's loved Maddison for a long while, 5 doesn't feel right when you've signed Maddison, but the fact we haven't addressed that centre-back issue, I am going to go with 5 out of 10. Tapsoba, let's bring this up, is a right-sided centre-back, not a left-sided centre-back, so there you go. Could that be him already out of the race? Donna Cullen is back. She's very active tonight. I'd rather be active on the transfers. Furthermore, we won't get Tapsoba deal done. He's also on our priority list. Oh, there's difference in opinions here. Has says the only centre back should stay Romero, and even he's a loose Callan. Okay, just to shove it in here for you, Wynnie. I can bring up obviously the centre backs. Let me bring up the centre backs that we've got. Yeah, and we can quickly. Luke won't mind us running over. I'm sure it's worth it. Got lots of people tuning in. People are loving it. Let's go through the defenders we've got and who you keep. So I'm going to read them all out. You just tell me the ones that you would keep at the end. So centre backs have Sanchez, Dyer. Let's just do centre backs. Sanchez, Dyer, Romero, Tanganga. Did I say Dyer? Yes, I said Dyer. And you could potentially include Davis and Langley in there.
Okay, so I'm going to go against the grain of the majority of Spurs fans, and I'm going to keep Eric Dyer.
Yeah, agree.
I'm going to keep him not as a starting defender. I'm going to keep him as a squad player.
Yes.
I think what he does, and what he does behind the scenes. We're talking about someone who introduced Pedro Porro to the squad. He speaks the same language. He's someone who has a lot of belief in himself. Has a lot of belief in Tottenham Hotspur. He may not be the best ability-wise, but what he lacks in ability, he makes up in desire and heart. And for me, I like players like that.
Yeah.
Someone who genuinely gives a crap. So I'm keeping Dyer. Sanchez, I'll drive him to the airport tomorrow. Tanganga, Tanganga seems to be seems to be hanging around far too long. So I'm getting rid of Tanganga. Who else did we say? Longley. If the reports are true and we are going to be getting him potentially on a free transfer if they terminate his contract. Donna agrees with me. Fair enough. If the Longley rumours are true and we can be getting him very, very, very cheap, then look, I'm for it, if I'm honest, because I don't think he was terrible. I think he was, bar a couple of mistakes. Yes, he was part of a defence that conceded 63 goals or whatever it was, but I don't think anyone in that defence stood out. So if we can get Longley for cheap, I would probably bring him in as well. And Ben Davis, I'm unsure of. He's probably someone that's I would probably keep because he spent a lot of time at Tottenham. But then we also need to put sentiment aside. So look, I'm going to be cutthroat. I'm going to get rid of Davis. I'm going to get rid of Sanchez. I'm going to get rid of Roden, and I'm going to get rid of Tanganga. Yeah. I'm going to keep Dyer, and I'm going to keep Romero, and I'm going to add to that Longley, Van der Ven, and Tosin.
Oh, thank you, Wynnie. I'm struggling to keep a straight face here with all the comments from Donna Cullen. They're just great, honestly. And with me, centre back issue before we wrap up for today's show, and I do keep saying that. Sancho, I would sell. Wynnie, I'm with you on this. Dyer, I would keep as a squad player. Yeah. I don't know if he counts that homegrown or not, but I think he's been. Porro's come out and said, different players come out and said he helped them to win. And I think he plays for the heart, plays for the badge, solid. And I think when we're winning a game could be very, very crucial. We may rattle a lot of people by saying this. We may see clips going around this on Twitter, but both Harry and Wynnie, despite probably criticising him in the season, would both keep Dyer. He obviously got Romero, obvious keep. Tanganga, I would sell or like a loan to buy. He's been here too long. Mid-20s now, he's still rusty, I'm afraid. Not his fault, but he does need to move on for his own sake. Championship League One, first team football may suit him. Davis, I would keep. This is an unpopular opinion. I like what he does. I think he's reliable. I think he's solid. I think he's dependable.
I agree.
I think that if we're going to, obviously, Postecoglou plays with attacking fullbacks, but obviously you've got to remember the difference between being at Celtic and Tottenham, and that may leave us open. So fullbacks of Davis and Emerson will be safer, and I think could be crucial. But I can understand why people get rid of him, cash in lots of players on that side. Langley, sign or don't sign. I would sign Van der Ven and probably Langley or Adebayo. I'd rather Adebayo, but Langley will obviously be cheaper. Langley, again, as a squad player, absolutely fine. I know doesn't mind Tanganga at all. Rodon go. So that'll cash in. So we may need more than two centre-backs.
Yeah, but if I'm honest, H, I don't think it's against the realms of possibility that we get Van der Ven, Longley, and Tosin. I don't think that. I think that's achievable. I really do.
I think it's achievable if Dyer, Tanganga, Rodon go. That's 3 in, 3 out. Because if more go out than in, which seems like a possibility at the moment, we're going to be left with just one option to turn to, and that's risky. 3 centre backs. So no, I'm completely with you on this, Wynnie. Any last comments on that?
No. I completely agree. I just think, like I say, if I'm going to sit here and go what I hope and think our business will be is what I've said. We'll get rid of Roden, get rid of Tanganga, get rid of Sanchez, and have our centre back options as Eric Dyer, Romero, Van der Ven, Longley, and maybe Tosin as well. So that gives us 5 centre backs. And that's not including Ben Davis, who is a left back but can play in a centre back role like he does for his country. So that would leave us with 6 centre backs. And let's not forget, we're not exactly blessed with competitions this season. Having no Europe, we're going to be playing in the FA Cup and we're going to be playing in the League Cup. So we don't need 6 centre backs, but it's definitely something that we can have. It'd be a nice thing to have. So we'll have to wait and see, mate. We'll have to see what Fabrizio gives us in the next couple of days.
Yeah, we always rely on good old Fabrizio for
No.
all our news. There's a comment I was trying to find from Johnny, but I don't think I can find it because it's quite a while ago. Let's have a look. Because thank you all for your amazing comments. There's a lot of it. That's it. It's saying thank you for sticking up our comments earlier. You're my kind of guy. So Johnny,
Okay.
listen up for where you can both find me and Wynnie, and thank you for tuning in once again. Firstly, thank you all because the views have been, I think it's going to be one of the highest streams that we've ever had. The numbers are very, very good, which is great to see. So if you are currently watching, in the comments, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button. Every Sunday, 7 p.m, we're here. Myself, Wynnie, Dave, Luke, maybe one of us, maybe two of us, maybe even a full house every week, debating, discussing, agreeing, disagreeing, whatever about the club that we love, Tottenham. We love your opinions. So smash the subscribe button, leave a like because we are close to getting to the 800 subs. And one thing Luke doesn't say enough, which I will pick him up on, is also don't forget to turn the notifications bell on so you don't miss any of our content, our live shows, and maybe more content going into the season. Because that is guaranteed views and that is very, very handy. And also you keep up to date about the club you love, Tottenham Hotspur. If you're listening on any other podcast platforms, Spotify, etc., don't forget to follow us and leave a 5-star review. So Wynnie, thank you for having me on. I really do enjoy hosting and it's great to have you back. So Wynnie, where can people find you for people who don't know?
Yeah, Wynnie 1991 on Twitter. If you disagree with anything I've said, feel free to message me and we can fight it out. What I will say is next week's show, hopefully if we can get it all sorted in time, we're going to potentially do a Premier League 2023-24 Premier League prediction. So from top down to bottom. So we will discuss who we think is going to finish where and why. So next week's show is going to be potentially a very, very good one. So definitely, yeah, definitely. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to. I'm talking to Luke currently on how the logistics of it, how it's going to work. But me, Luke, yourself, and Dave hopefully get our predictions into Luke, so we can get all the background work done, and we can have quite a nice lengthy show next week. So I think we're all there next week potentially. So it'd be good to fresh out. We can have a really good show next week, and it'll be one that will reach to not just Tottenham fans, but what's the point? FC. I predict Spurs will not win the Premier League. Yeah, fair enough. Oh yeah, corporate lounge seatings. Yeah, oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I'm never going to turn it down. Can we get discounts? This has been so kind to you, please, Donna. We will not say anything about leaving on this podcast. We promise you. Yeah, you go predict Spurs. Well, I think it's fair to say, you're playing it safe with that. What's the point, FC? If you want to follow me, you can. My handle's there, HarryScarf22 on all socials. Also, check out my channel, Scarfy's First Talk. Recently hit 1K, which I'm very, very grateful for. All kinds of different content, but we do, thank you, Wynnie, a live show every Monday, 8 p.m. with special guests. So any of you watching here, if you want to come over, give your opinion tomorrow. And in the next 2 weeks, I've got the likes of Rory Agambar, Crackers, Lee McQueen, and potentially Ricky Saxon as well. Potentially, no promises, but that is definitely the aim because we do aim high. Guys are great at Last Word on Spurs. I would love to get them on here as well sometime. Go check it out. Your opinion is much valued. But also, like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast or follow on podcast platforms, 5-star review, like everything. And go check Wynnie out as well on social. We will be back like we are every Sunday, 7 p.m, whether it's one of us, two of us, three of us, four of us. We will always continue to deliver you guys. But as we always say on this podcast, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.